Yes.
And
unfortunately, South Korea is one of them.
Right. So there's a difficulty with Nigerians going to all this. And I would love to showcase that like these things are maybe a priority Nigerians should consider.
Yes. We'll do that. We'll definitely talk about that. They call this one project. It's a study Korea 300K project. So they're trying to get it
more people
30% by 2027.
Fair enough.
So countries need people. You know where Nigeria is right now, so there's scholarship and funding opportunities. We don't know where our current leadership will take us by that 2027. So you can be like Tolu, you know. The final thing about this policy is that they're also saying that masters and doctoral students will then get permanent residency in South Korea. So it makes so much sense. So imagine you get PR from South Korea, then you now go to Canada, South Korea, bilateral stuff. So the G's plenty for them.
Yeah.
The G's plenty for them.
Yeah, and finally, the Germany opportunity card is out.
The sweetest thing in the market now.
Crazy. Hello guys, well, you're welcome to Japa Chronicles.
When they clicked on the YouTube, that was the introduction. Hello, you've greeted them.
What do you want me to say again now? I don't know, how did you do the intro again?
You are very funny.
Okay,
anyway.
we have a special guest today. I'm not going to introduce this guy. We have a special guest today.
Why?
Why am I not introducing him?
Birthday boy.
When they opened,
his birthday this week.
I'm so sorry.
My birthday.
Happy birthday.
He cried yesterday, by the way.
I get plan for the two of them.
Yeah.
This week I was having a bad morning and I was hearing this one saying something about who even made him king. Something self-made king. This one.
Self-made king.
That's just wow.
So
I saw that.
Wow. Bonuses don't. Why bonus quarter? No. Man, use your mouth. Fight your battle.
Subject.
Yeah, you know what? Now you see your new mentor.
Welcome to Japa Chronicles. What's up, my mentor?
Are you jealous? He's recruiting
Royal
a new
Majesty.
mentor.
His Royal Majesty. Please, I beg. I beg.
Yeah, welcome back, guys. Thank you, guys. It's birthday week, man.
How was yesterday for you?
I know if they cry for podcast. I don't tell you. Stop the try set me up for podcast.
He cried yesterday. We got him a lot of stuff. We took him to places.
By the time my friends see this thing, my best birthday gift was one. My guys. Interestingly, I'm told one person is behind it, but I'll never give that person credit.
Wow.
Yeah, the person did. They curated this picture and video thing over.
Are you serious? That was the best birthday gift.
It was the best gift. But I know the gift.
Who had the best birthday message?
What's that? What are
I'm
you?
I'm just asking.
What do you want to do with it?
I can check.
If you feel like your message wasn't great,
no.
It's on our
I
office
can check. I can check.
But
you can go and I can check.
Receipts.
I'm pulling it out, but yeah.
I feel like I had the best.
This one where they drag me, say me, I'll be Man U fan. God for
Wow. You have a soft spot for Man U now. Everybody knows that.
No.
You guys are.
He talks about Man U more than he talks about Chelsea.
I have a soft spot for Brighton, Fulham, not Man U.
So why are you talking about Man U?
Your pain makes me happy, bro.
None of them.
No, why?
I choose peace.
He's giving us now.
He's giving us now.
The funny thing is, I grew up an Arsenal fan.
Yeah.
I did. And then at some point, I grew up and I started to think for myself.
Yeah, is this
and
what?
I realized, do you understand what I'm saying?
Who made you an Arsenal fan initially?
Father now.
You need to see this. See this
and
video.
actually, funny enough, it's actually Kanu.
See our last hangout. So we did this. It was really lively. I did that LeBron thing. We did is it tug of war?
Yeah, it was tug of war. Yeah,
it was really nice.
Yeah, we won tug of war.
So we won the tug of war our group. It was really nice. It was really nice. Let me see whose was best. Anyway,
I'm happy for you. I'm very happy for you. Happy birthday.
Yeah. Thanks. So, okay, now I know why India has who better because you own long. No, you own long. Well, I go find out now.
Can be short and
I had the best. Like I don't know why you're trying to. I have a way.
I think it was Chinelo. Let me confirm.
Let's move on. We have a guest today.
It was Chinelo.
Chinelo, right? Okay, good. Let's move on.
Because it's not your own.
We have a guest today. It's very, very special guest. It's going to be a very interesting conversation.
So he has been a webinar guest for us.
See, segments, you understand? We have to move. Okay, your birthday has passed. Okay, interesting. Oh, congratulations. Let's move on.
Well, interesting. The best message I got yesterday was somebody saying that. I got a lot of lovely messages that was very, very humbling. Or someone said that the only person I know that will make your birthday about something else, like giving people, like honoring other people, and that was nice. The other person said something about you're a really good person. It was really nice to hear those things. Person that they have to tell you. So like,
I'm sorry, I didn't. It's not personal. So like,
I feel like it's moments that make
Yeah.
people say what they really feel about
Fair.
you, and that's
Fair.
really
What it was. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So for record, you're not a bad person.
I mean, everybody knows
You have
that.
to say it just because.
Oh, no,
You
no,
know,
no, no.
you know it's relative, sha. You know it's another person's book.
I-
You be a bad person.
I feel show them your own message.
No, I
Oh,
didn't say I didn't call you a good person, sha.
Okay.
Fair enough.
But I didn't call you a good person.
Baba, I feel.
Well, I didn't
I
call you.
feel-
Don't do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Now you can move to the next segment.
Special guest.
Yeah.
Just do your.
Actually, man.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tolu Arugomasi. I went to school with this guy, Ish. Went to the
Are
same
you,
school.
I was even going to
That's
ask
how,
you
that's
guys
how we know each
met.
other.
Oh, okay.
Aside from that, right now I work in tech. I'm an adjunct professor. Do some stuff for real estate.
Sisters is single.
That was
Boy,
unnecessary.
is it searching?
I just said that's
That's a different
that's-
topic. That's not for today.
No, but let's go.
Um,
Just call everything now. Your full
Yeah,
CV.
and then where that stuff? So
Adjunct
Yeah,
professor.
adjunct professor.
And that one boss my because you know they a young guy I don't become professor, so I quickly want to let the sisters know say he's academics and play.
Professional.
You know,
Oh, yeah,
no, play.
yeah.
the problem is always married people that do this kind of thing. It's
Yeah,
always married
yeah,
people.
yeah.
It's always
And
Yeah,
married
no,
actually,
because he wants you to join his
Interestingly,
league.
as you and Angel they do nonsense, actually they come to think about maybe I'll introduce him to Angel.
No, don't do that.
What's happened? She
He's,
means
he's taking now.
I'm not interested in problems. Real now. Please.
I don't want problem. No, you get that. You know.
I don't see the way the story is going already. I don't want to
let's
be
skip.
involved.
Let's
Just
skip.
see.
But I mean, it's
I
possible.
choose
sir.
peace.
Anything's possible.
Aside from that, Nigerian, Canadian at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
The
so
typical.
I'm
Yeah.
Canadian now as well. Yeah. So it's.
I
it's
said
a good way to have
mentor.
different
I said I have new
perspectives
mentor. Don't be saying this. I have a new
Yeah,
mentor.
moving on. The last
Hey,
time,
why we moving on?
the last time we had you, because
Yeah.
she said we had you on the webinar. The last time we had you here, you came to talk to people about the MBA.
MBA.
So we'll touch on all
yes,
that today.
so did that, yeah. Engineering and MBA as
And
well.
I think then you were working at Sportnet.
Sportsnet, correct.
And the last time I spoke to you, you were working at Reddit. So how's Reddit going?
So I left Reddit, and I mean, the tech space is very volatile right now.
Yeah.
So
When I
Unfortunately,
text you, do I have to be asking that?
yes, you should
where
even be
are
asking
you-
where am
are
I
you
work-wise?
Yeah.
Where am I work-wise and location?
Location-wise.
God bless you. Yeah.
Oh, you're always moving locations.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
you are ready.
Yes, ma'am.
like
But
How
even
many-
because of jobs or
No, I think one of them, because I now have the freedom of passport.
ah,
I want to exercise it. You get, let the passport not be fat. You get.
Yeah.
So I want it to be working hard because Nigerian passport can't do the same work.
Oh yeah.
So I just like everyone's
when last did you
What's
look at your
kind-
Nigerian passport?
coming to Nigeria.
coming to Nigeria because you know go on wahala now.
Yeah, coming to
And at the
Nigeria.
wheels
I go
gone.
build your written.
Once you enter
Yeah,
border, you go
they'll
sleep the other
start-
one. You go
yeah,
use the one that
yeah.
So,
you
yeah.
are a car.
That's why.
You know, a
The other thing too
castle.
was actually I also wanted to do like a tour of West Africa.
Oh yeah.
So I
okay,
wanted to
you
see
mentioned-
Ghana, I wanted to see Sierra Leone.
You mentioned, but
but again, the
price
cost,
was
which
we
is
talked
which is
about-
bothering to me because like that bothers me a lot. Like the cost of moving around for example with the US, Mexico, Canada, really cheap. Even Europe, really
It's not as
cheap.
expensive
But
as moving around.
Nigeria,
Yeah, because you're already there.
But
But
Nigeria,
Nigeria
Ghana,
and all of us that were right-
Senegal, it's
Horrible.
terrible.
I might as well be going to Europe from
Yeah.
here for the same cost.
Are you
I think
serious?
someone has said it on Twitter.
Yeah.
That
And I-
moving
with-
around Europe
It's cheaper.
from
cheap.
UK is cheaper
But
compared
us
to
in our own
Nigeria.
terrible. So I was like, I'm confused.
So I mean,
You know?
we could easily unpack
Okay.
that with EU, AU, wahala.
Correct.
Like the European Union has a working system.
Yeah.
Africa still is very much
The
behind.
stronger block,
Like
yep.
you want to send something from Nigeria. So I watched the Kenyan president talk about the need for potatoes and the adverse effects of this protest. Even though I really like man, he really dropped the ball on this protest thing.
Yeah, the financial
But
stuff.
he said that they needed to get potatoes from I don't know where it was somewhere in Europe or something like that. And I remember I'm like, my people for here for plateau.
They
Potato
have
na their
Yeah.
Easy.
we can't even do
Inter-continental
intra-African trade.
Yeah.
If it before I come up plateau, FG go collect their own for here.
Correct.
If it land for border,
Another
they
one
will
collect
come
their
their own. When you go reach markets, they will collect their own. You overtax people.
Yes.
The working environment is not good because if we have potatoes in Nigeria, why is Kenya thinking of outside
Outside
of Africans? And you can just imagine same thing with like
The interesting thing is, if you think about the way most, at least the bigger continents are constructed, there's one or two big countries that drag the rest of the continents. And in a way, my opinion, this is just my own normal opinion, I think South Africa and Nigeria have not done a good job of leading the continent. I think if you think about Europe, it's a French, German bloc, quite frankly. The rest just go along with whatever they say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They let the others, like
True.
maybe Switzerland will hold the money and stuff,
Yeah.
Brussels will hold like the government, but really it is driven by France and Germany.
True.
Right? So that leadership from Nigeria
no.
and South Africa is missing.
He does drunk
Where-
France. He does
No, it's
drunk
true.
France because
That-
France is having terrible leadership
So
problems.
and as a result, Europe is having issues. So that's the thing that we've not done a great job of as Nigerians. Now, we can argue that, okay, maybe it's the leaders, it's whatever. But I think even as citizens as well,
haven't done enough. We haven't
there
done
is our own responsibility where, like, the reality is when Nigerians go abroad,
we behave.
we behave, and also because of our mindsets, we're able to drag things. If you go to any organization abroad and there's a Nigerian there, they're in a leadership position and they're dragging others, whether from leadership directly or behind the scenes. So it is shocking to me that within our own system, we don't do that here.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
We need to talk about that on another episode where we talk about
We can
really
move
like no, we'll touch on
But
it now.
we actually have had this
We
conversation.
had this conversation, but we need to have like
before.
we need to like come with data and facts to really
On
argue it out. I think it's a system thing, like you said.
Yes.
And it's really the world system. So in Africa, culture really sort of trains up a child.
Correct.
Because a lot of our leaders have gone abroad, they've schooled abroad,
seen
they
it,
lived abroad. But when they come back here, they fit in, and you begin to hear them in the closer circle say, "Oh, if I don't behave this way, how will I win election?" Right? So it's not just that people know what to do,
Yeah.
but because there is no motivation for anybody to do the right thing. Because what does it what does
What
it
is the
pay
benefit?
me? What's the benefit?
Fair.
When I can win an election by sharing money, why should I keep money off the
Yeah.
streets?
You know, it's
You know?
interesting.
So-
right now, I'm trying to do some projects in Nigeria as well. And it's one of those things that people have told me, like, that shortcut, if there's a shorter cut to it, why would I go the
Why
long
go
way
the long
round?
way round, yeah.
And it bothers me, but like, again, for someone like me, that the benefit isn't in the either the monetary value or the
Yeah.
thing. It's in that we've done it properly. It's hard, and again, I'm now almost maybe more trained abroad, so it's easier for me to be like, no, we do it the right
The
way.
right way.
There's a website that I'm even working on, and they're telling me that, if you don't pay, they will cancel this thing and they will remove it, and it will cost this much to re-upload it if I pay the next day as opposed to today. And I was like, wait, hold on. This is software. These things don't expire. You don't need to re-upload. Like that's, but again, that is the mechanism to get people to pay.
Yeah.
And so people also believe that. And so someone like me that's an integrity that's like, no, that's not the case. I don't appreciate that way of doing business. So now I have to look for a way to roll off this. And that's kind of, it's endemic. It's everywhere.
We clearly have a policy issue because obviously with technology as a thing in Africa now, most governments are behind. Look, I don't know if you saw what the Lagos State government did with Uber and Bolt years ago.
What did they do?
So when they realized how much money they were making, not only did they now form their own lag ride,
Lag
Oh, yeah.
That
they
cannot
then
be
sort of
service.
they started arresting the Uber until they came to the table, and then today when you pay your fee, they put like LASG fee. They didn't go to parliament. Of course, they don't even have anybody in their parliament that can think, but Desmond Elliot's parliament.
What is it on
He
Elliot
name dropped.
do
Don't get me
now?
started on that.
I actually dragged someone for this
Don't
last
get me started on that. Don't get me started on the speaker. And don't get me started on those people.
Yes.
But you don't even have a policy that is enabling the tech space.
Correct.
Oh, let's start from. You don't even have the people in parliament that can
Don't
even
understand.
drive proper leadership and policy making.
Or
So-
even into
so-
tech.
To be
So,
fair, I agree
Do you
with
understand?
that
Like,
challenge.
so the problems are, and that's why you
Definitely.
see me go into politics, and I'm saying, like, look, young people have to drag
Drag
them.
them.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
look, while Tolu is on the product and tech side, somebody has to be on the policy side saying that, look, guys, this is what this is going to do. This is like 10 years down the line,
Yes.
etc,
You know,
etc.
the funny thing is, abroad also has that problem right now, but their
Oh, yeah.
problem is slightly different because it's, again, similar to what we are going through. It's older people who are all in power.
Yeah.
And so we need people who understand the technology to also be on that side. And I think it is now, maybe again, this is part of why I also wanted to come home, is that like when you have that understanding, it is helpful to come and enable people like us
Yeah.
to be like, oh, yeah,
Gotta
I think
do
it's our
something.
time. I think if we keep waiting for these guys to do
They,
anything, they're not
no,
gonna do
we'll
anything.
be here for a
Yeah.
long time.
So I think
We'll
it's one
be
of
here
those
for a
where
long
like, the time has come, and people are, Alele, thank you so much for coming. Retirement home.
I'm tired of making comparisons to like what's happening in the UK, Canada, because like if I sit down, I can undress all those countries just like
Easily.
I undress Nigeria.
Correct. Yeah.
Like I was also
So-
watching the UK's election yesterday into this morning, and I'm like,
What are they even doing?
Bro.
So this is the
the
thing.
guy that won or more.
The interesting thing is, I
The
think
guys in the UK.
I think
Okay, let
a
me
lot
not tell you
of
anything.
African solutions.
Sorry,
are
you
going
on
to need
Rishi
to be-
Sunak side?
Oh no. It's
I
not
don't
about
think
that.
I don't think anybody was. Even he himself. I don't think he thought he was going to win.
But get this right. I still feel like he's better than the guy that won. Because when you watch their debate, The other guy doesn't seem to have a plan. He has a 138-page manifesto of how do I put it? How do you put this? You know when they make jollof rice,
Yeah.
put the right content, but it still look like jollof rice. Let me leave it there.
Yeah.
And so let's just watch. You'll see.
let's leave it of European countries now out of it. I think African countries need an African solution.
Yes.
That isn't whatever those other people are doing. Like, I'll give an example from a product side. Like, I saw this app called InDrive, which surprisingly, from a product perspective, now again, the operational side is the debate entirely. But from a product perspective, is a very good representation of how we hail taxis.
Yes.
Where like you call and then I'll say, okay, this is how much I want to pay.
Yes.
Yeah.
That thing is a very good representation of the way we do things.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I would love to see that in multiple other areas where it's like, this is the way we do things, but we've represented it in technology. We've represented it in politics.
Yeah.
So that thing that we just go and copy what they have and bring it, that to me, I think we
Okay.
need to stop doing.
Yeah.
But again, how that will go about, we're here, we'll figure it out one by one.
Now, again, debatable. I still prefer the Uber platform. Like,
Why?
I prefer what
Safer.
it gives. It's not just the safety.
It's not the safety.
I like. I don't know if you call us the urban rural wahala, but like I love that I can go on the app. I don't even need to think about the price.
Fair.
Just get me a driver to come pick me up and drops me where I'm going.
Yes.
I don't want to use the word hate. It's a very strong word. I really dislike the behavior of the human beings that are driving the car.
You see what I'm saying?
And Uber helps me eliminate
It's a
all
lot of-
that. You see, when I go to Abuja sometimes and I have to get a ride, and let me not even cast myself because I started thinking of hiring a car for a day now when I go to Abuja. But hello, guy. Now car trip, you go cancel amo.
Yeah, they do that.
Yes.
Yeah, they do that.
Wow.
Bro, that thing
They tell you.
irritates me
There was even once
Why
I
you
had,
can't-
because
I had
you've
entered.
been waiting for the ride.
Yeah,
So why are they cancelling it? I'm confused.
They want to circumvent the system. They don't want Uber to get
They
their
want
money.
to drive
Yeah.
off
So they
the-
want me to pay
off
them
the app.
offline.
another issue that they have is Uber pays them for if you book a ride today, Uber won't pay you today. So the money will just be in your Uber
It's
account.
wasting.
But
So it lands
it's
in your
not
account
wasting.
in 1 week.
Because of our
Is it-
economy,
yeah,
really.
is-
It's a
we need
week
that
to week
cash,
thing.
yeah.
So
They need that
they
cash
say they
on-
need
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Okay, so, you see,
You know,
so again, you see
yeah,
what I'm
like I
saying?
said, it's a so this is why.
You see, the interesting thing is InDrive, which solves that problem of you get the cash today. If they were to just make the change, and by the way, InDrive, if you're listening, call me. If they were to make a change where like I've agreed to the price and you get that pay today, and I have to remove that driver behavior of you call me and all those kind of things, where you add almost like an Uber element where I remember immediately, okay, I've accepted,
Home
pay
run.
it. You've locked it in.
Three-run home run,
Straight away.
walk-off win.
You see what I'm saying?
Because
So-
you've ticked all the problems that we have.
So that's what I'm saying. Where like sometimes you need things need African. So that's
African
anyways
solutions,
separate,
yeah.
separate.
African
separate.
You know, so that's really where we are. I mean, we've introduced Tolu on tech, so that's why we're having that conversation.
Yeah,
So let's now unbundle. Let's go way back.
Yeah.
Like you said, we went to the same secondary school briefly, CRC Shagamu. Shout out to Mr. Kwasheda.
Why are you calling your school name? Don't give your school PRA.
See,
Baba na free
honestly,
PR.
Don't give your school PRA.
No, but trust me, Tolu doesn't always talk about CRC. But yeah, let's go.
let's move on,
Let's
yeah.
move on.
Yeah. So I
So
moved.
I went to LCU. Isaac went to C. So ask him the question.
What's
What's
LCU?
the one LCU? What does that mean?
Leeds City University.
At least you know where LCU. At least you know where LCU.
Oh, what's your LCU?
But you
Ask
know
him the city.
Ask him the
what-
CU.
You don't have to ask
You went
him.
to CU, right?
I went to
Yeah,
a CU,
CU,
yes,
but not your CU.
I went to Carleton University,
University.
Ottawa, Canada.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that
But
was
still-
ready for my
But still
engineering.
close. I still like family.
Then,
CU.
Yeah, after that, I did my MBA at Queen's University. So
Well,
Why
engineering.
you drag
Engineering.
yourself?
in-
Why you drag
I did communications engineering.
your first
So-
degree?
So
Was
that
that 4 or 5 years?
4 years. 4 years. So that
Why
was
is 5 years? Why is your engineering in your school 5 years?
Engineering in most schools.
Engineering in
5
Nigeria
years.
is 5 years. now.
why. What's the extra year
Futo,
for?
who they ask
I
you
don't
question
know.
for here?
But I mean, it's just 5 years in Nigeria.
Fair enough.
Everywhere.
It's-
Well, I mean, it's not normal. So like,
engineering is engineering.
yeah, but like, but, I mean, engineering there is no engineering here.
Why- why?
Exactly. No need to
Engineering here.
Why would they drag us?
No problem.
Let's move on.
The other cool thing about engineers in Canada, especially when you finish, they give you engineering. So that's another way to know
In
engineering.
Nigeria, I think you.
They give you fees, you get it.
What's that
That's the
thing?
other thing that we don't do. We don't package
We
these
don't
things
do
where it makes you feel
packaging,
like I'm
No,
proudly,
there's
you
They
know.
have this Nigerian Society of Engineers now, so they give
Okay.
them just
My guy, Papa, even-
Certificates. So you have to come to
Yeah,
my
collect
office.
one
Yes,
award.
yeah,
you saying?
yeah.
Has anybody seen your CU certificate?
Ooh.
I think my employers have. I don't
That's,
know.
has anybody seen your
I don't know. I've
But
never
this one,
seen
you
it.
see
I've
it.
never
I
seen
carry it everywhere.
I've
So
never
someone
seen
sees me
it.
like this.
Is this your ring?
Yeah,
Is
that's
this your
engineering.
Are you
Yeah,
serious?
so every engineer has it.
I've not seen it. That's true because I did doubt your
Direct
recent
to you.
work performance. I did try confirm whether you graduate. But we
That
go talk now.
wow, that came out of nowhere. Don't leave. Yeah,
Are you
don't leave.
working
Yeah.
We
Continue.
go yarn am after.
But yeah, so
When everyone know this, you go.
wow,
Sorry, you enter.
this is it hurts his feelings.
Wait. You started it. You started it.
So
Anyway,
I left to
you
Canada
left
2009.
Yeah, as a 15, 16, 17 year old. All right.
Ballpark 16. Yeah. So,
What was that experience like? You
Living in Nigeria?
Yeah, generally living at that age.
I think at the time I didn't realize. To me, it felt like another boarding school because, as you know, our school was boarding house.
True.
So to me, it felt like okay, I'm going to go for school.
Oh, so you stayed on campus?
I stayed on campus. Yes, the first 2 years.
Did you have family there?
No, I did not. I had a cousin who was in Toronto, but Toronto is separate from Ottawa.
Oh, okay.
So I did that for 2 years, and then I moved off campus. I got my own place with my friends. So I did that for another 2 years before I graduated, and then started working, stuff like that. That experience, like, if you've already done boarding house, you already have that independence. And I think a lot of Nigerians have that inbuilt. I'll figure it out. mentality.
So you were fresh off secondary school here, and
Yeah.
then
So I went to a school in Hamilton for 1 year, and that one was, at the time, the explanation was you want to do a grade 12 again, so that if you need to change
so that's
schools,
like high school.
It's like high school, yeah. But I didn't really need to do it, but I think my parents were also worried I was young. My parents always tried to like make me stay back an extra year. So even in grade 5, they made my school create grade 6 because I was too young to go into GS1 that time.
So it was just
So,
you.
so it was me and 3 others. They created that class, and that was the first inaugural grade 6 class. Shout out to Diamonds Private School. So that's the school I went to.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then
SIS did the same thing when I was in primary 5.
Could
But
we
I
get to
wasn't. Apart from that, we don't even really get back. My mom see to go do primary 6, but they did that for that same
For us,
reason
yeah,
because
so
they felt some
Diamonds
people were not ready.
we're not ready.
Really?
So
Yeah.
Diamonds
I think it
International,
made
they did
sense.
that.
It made some
Simcoe.
sense.
They did that, and then finished secondary school, still too young, and they were like, "We had to do another year." And even still in my engineering program, I was still one of the youngest again.
Yeah.
And people were like, how can you understand this concept? And I think it's one of those things like again, as Nigerians, we pick things up like that because the society requires you're sharp.
To be sharp.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Fuck.
And so when you go abroad and the limitations of system aren't there,
Yeah.
no, you're off.
You shine.
And so for me, I was working and in school at the same time at that time.
At that young age.
Yeah. I did that from my second year. So my first year, I toughed it out. Second year, I started working right away. And then I worked throughout undergrad, getting a job, everything. And then I just continued since.
I've
I've
got
always
2
been working.
questions.
Yeah.
But part of that being sharp as a Nigerian boy also, as you said that, I just flashed Abara. The our usual. Why you did not like say you know it to be Abara? Come on for
Why I
you.
don't know
My
it to
guy.
be about? Why I don't know it to be about?
You know be like person with the color Abara. Oh.
I never connected, but I mean,
You witness
I
your
never
sister.
witnessed people connected to Abara. Yeah.
So my first question
Uh-huh.
is your opinion on young people having to go into school at that
Okay.
age in comparison to like abroad where some of them are going at 19, 20 and being able to balance that really.
I mean, from my own experience, I think it worked out for me because I had the makeup that enabled that. And even like my mom's an educator, my grandmother's an educator. So for me, that was fine. There was all those kinds of things around me. So even now that I'm a professor, I still, because that's just my environment. But for other people who need the balance of like play or things like that, I think you want to do it as a child by child basis and have a better sense.
So Laura,
for- yeah.
maturity and immaturity, like there's kind of upbringing we get that gives us like some cultural maturity.
Yes.
And then there are some who are just,
can't.
you know,
You need more
Isaac
play.
say we're doing this, everybody will follow Isaac, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah. So I think you want to think about on the average because my own upbringing was there's no average about it. So you want to, on average, consider more factors. I also noticed that boys, like young boys, struggle a little more with like sitting in one place. Right, so you want to introduce more play, especially for boys. Women are better academically from a like sit and study
The sense of
perspective. So you have to
maturity.
balance it out in needs. things like
Yeah, so as a young, I mean, just fresh off uni, sorry, just fresh off secondary school, I'm still trying to figure it out because usually when I hear people go abroad for BSc,
Usually,
they always have to move like in with family because it's always hard doing things on your own abroad. So how were you able to navigate
all that.
all that? Yeah,
In my own case, again, I think there's some level of luck in addition from my own parents' side. I was the first child. My parents were all educators, so you cannot embarrass the family name.
What's your
So I had all those things. And when I say luck, is like that makeup was something that I had. Like my brothers are slightly different too. From the beginning, I told my dad, I'm going to do an engineering degree, I'm going to do an MBA. Now, I didn't know how I was going to do it, but that was always the plan from the beginning. My dad knew that one point blank. And so for me, doing that, because I already had a game plan, and I remember even in all those slums that we used to do at the end of the year when you're leaving, you write your plan. And all those things, like,
always been there.
It's always been there, like youngest billionaire. All those dreams, we had dreams. If they had nothing in Nigeria, we had dreams.
Fucked.
So in my mind, and of course, the other thing, so again, always one of the big dreams that we have as young Nigerians is they cannot hold family meeting without you. So whatever you need to do to put yourself in position to be Odogu when they are saying that they want to do things, we do it.
To be that
You know what I mean? Let them not do anything and they will not call me. No.
Yeah.
You can't be ashamed to the family in this case. So in my own mind, that was the overarching thing where I was like, right now I'm young, I get it, I'm a first child. But I look around and I see all the different things that the family is going through. My mom's an entrepreneur, my dad's an architect. Everybody in the family is doing something. I cannot just go there and just go abroad just to say abroad. And then the last thing that also forced me to almost like have sense was, I remember like when my dad was giving me money, I think he was giving me like $1,000. That was the money said, like, I don't know when I'm supposed to give you. And that was a lot back then. It's like, I don't know when I'm supposed to send you money, number one.
When you were leaving, he gave you
$1,000. He said, okay, put 500 in your suitcase. I'll give you 500 to put on your person. And essentially, when next I'll be able to send you money, I don't know. When next anything's going to happen, I don't know. But you see, they tried. But you see, the key thing is, when you're going abroad, I'm sending you abroad, now all your friends are going to Covenant. It's not because I have careless money. It's not because I have careless money. I'm investing in your own future. Also, if you think your friends will not come and meet you there, you are deceiving yourself. So that I'm giving you an advantage. Don't waste it. Because don't go there and be saying Canada is hard. Yes, Canada is hard. It's true. Abroad is that everywhere is hard. But I'm giving you an advantage to go early now. If your friends come and meet you and you are still in the same position telling stories that Canada is hard, first of all, not only is it going to be a shame to you, it's a shame to me. Because I could have just sent you to Covenant then and you would have gone by yourself. So this head start, don't waste it. So whatever you need to do to ensure that that advantage is clear. When we look back and say, okay, we gave you advantage, and not only did you take it, you ran with it. Bro. Very important. I remember
15 years ago,
play by play. I remember every word he said. So you cannot tell stories. Whatever the hard is, when your friends come, and truly, when I came in 2019, he came from my MBA. And he looked, because I paid for him for his hotel and all those kind of things to get it. And he came and he said, you see all your friends now, they are here. So there was one of my friends that was really close by, cash up, and I said, you see, he's in Vancouver. And all your friends in Calgary, all of them. What are you telling them now? Because it is clear that you did not waste it.
Doing his day.
So that was the thing. So even when I was young, that one, I knew immediately, like, no matter how hard it is.
And you know the funny thing, and I feel like Isaac Novus will go segue because it's an emotional week. It's my birthday. So my mom, all this many years ago, had me on the same day of her senior sister. My mom is a caterer, so she was cooking. And so she went to labor the same day, cooking for my sister's birthday. Wow. And so my mom was reminding me, because my auntie turned 60. She was reminding me that when the going was tough and I got into, after secondary school, got into university, got a scholarship. The scholarship wasn't 100%, so there was still like a 20% to take. And she was reminding me that it was this my aunt that paid for
everything. Wow.
Paid for everything. So as we were talking, I was just flashing back because when she was talking about it, I'm like, I was like, I had 2 days before that, I was remembering that through secondary school when I had to, it was a struggle. Yeah. That aunt was also always there for for me or anything. So I was like, I didn't even realize that she paid. So my mom said that thing. So she was like, so what are you going to do for her birthday? Blah, blah, blah. I said, she's not worried. Because, right now, when this thing this play for I play you does give, like, I can flash back. Yeah. But the flashback is sweeter now because they can see you successful.
Yep.
So
and they can't, you know how Yoruba parents are. They can't, sometimes they don't go fit tell you, say, in fact, if they tell you now in the prayers, they don't go fit really say, Deepa, I'm really proud of you, that kind of thing. Yeah. But you can tell. So yesterday she was praying for me and I could tell.
That thank God, he did not shame me. In fact, not only did he not shame me, I'm so proud.
I'm
Like,
proud of you.
let me when they say let us talk about our children.
I can come outside
So,
with
you know,
confidence.
so Saturday like this, she no go
See.
know. I don't sort
Yeah.
everything out.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Like,
And that's the beauty of Nigeria. That's the beauty of our culture. Like, I don't think I can replace what is our authentic culture. Like, yes, the religion is good and our faith helped, but like
Yeah.
the culture of just respect, the passing the
Yeah.
baton, the sense of responsibility, you can't buy it outside.
Correct.
Because when you go to the world system, they already have their own system, and they are basically trying to teach you that everybody is playing, won't you play? Like when we were in school, they used to have raves from like Thursday to Sunday. People from Covenant would come, but when like my school was like a city school. And you know, if I went to Covenant, I don't think I would have turned out the way I turned out because the exposure I got. So like most of my classmates, Thursday nights, particularly the babes, they don't go club. You say this club they do party today, Friday, and that club they do party. So like you had all that going for you, and culture really helped me because of course, Momsi carried me to school, dropped me one uncle. So like after school,
Yeah.
either you go to church or you go home to do your assignment and do home stuff, you know. So yeah.
it's cool, no. And the other thing,
gives
I was
you-
supposed to shout out my auntie. Now I remember it because you just brought up. My aunt was the one who. So I didn't choose Canada. Funny enough, I know I wanted to leave Nigeria. I remember applying to Ghana, and then my aunt came.
How is Legon then?
Yeah, Legon. Come
Wait, why did you want to leave Nigeria?
Because at the time, as much as I was in Shagamu, I'd gone to Lagos. There wasn't a lot of like opportunity to explore. And I mean, as you've seen now,
You know, Tolu,
even when I was young, I would be in an encyclopedia. At one point, I even thought about New Zealand. What did I know was happening in New Zealand. So I wanted to go. I wanted to go and see stuff. And I felt, okay, Ghana would be the first opportunity because, like, who's going to let me go further than that? So in my own mind, my dream was, I'll do Ghana. Then my aunt came and spoke to my dad, and I was like, come, there is Canada.
At that time,
At
the
that
immigration
time,
policy was
2009.
just coming. Like, it was not even really
wasn't
popular then.
People were not doing, they weren't really big. Even you now, King of Jaguar, all those things were not there
Nothing
then.
like that.
So
Now,
if you
who
really wanted
know?
it was cause it's you,
Yes,
you know that you know.
who know? Now
He
he
came
go
and
tell
spoke to
you.
my dad, and I was like, I'm sending my son. That's the cousin I told you I was in Toronto. So it was like, I'm sending my own son to Toronto.
Wow.
Canada is good though.
Oh, he wasn't there at the time.
So he had already gone. So she had just sent her own first child. And she was about to send a second. And she was like, come, I'm doing for my own son. No.
Check who lost
Sure, you
there.
know. That, is he not a good child? Is he not
Come on,
focused? Is he not
like that,
So
man.
that even my own children that they're not even focused like that.
Yeah,
They are
Tolu
good
alone.
there.
Yeah.
But send him now. This is the cost. Is not. And that's one of the funny things. Like our culture, again, someone is leaving, you don't say anything until you have gone. But luckily for me, my aunt she opened up and said, come on, brother.
And our relationship. Because
Right.
culture don't like to talk to
So when I found out about that story later on, I remember like when I finally asked more change.
You go
You
send.
know, I sent my auntie something. I just said, auntie, you changed my life. She doesn't know. You changed my life. The whole trajectory, you changed it. I just sent her something small. She called me, Tolu, I said, auntie me.
Auntie me,
God
it's
bless
nothing.
you. You don't understand. God will
That's
bless
nothing.
you.
Not too much though.
Because
It's nothing.
and because man.
So you talk about again, like I said, this episode will give us so many other topics because if it does, this is just culture. Like this is just like the if we talk about like the positive and negative sides of culture, because there's also the aunties that just come and say, Tolu Shele, Tolu disrespect me. You know, there are those
that
kind
one,
of
yes.
aunties. You know, but my second question was it the exposure to work at like second year that really didn't like, because I mean he doesn't know. You've been that business person because even when I was building many years ago and you had that opportunity, I used to say that Tolu is doing everything. You were doing a podcast, you were involved in business, you took the risk, you know, you sent yourself through your MBA. Like, where did the business and that, where did that really come from? Can you remember?
So one, I'd already seen a lot of my own parents in Nigeria. And of course, with the little they had to do what they had to do. So growing up, my mom had a rental business. And so we would help her carry it.
The assistant to the assistant.
She was selling coke at one point, so coke truck will come, we'll load it, things like that. And then at one point, even now she rents flowers. So if you're looking for like potted plants for events, we carry them as well. So we deliver those now in Nigeria.
So you've always had
the school. So you always saw that even if you are doing your full time, and she was a lawyer in addition. So she was a lawyer. She worked really close to the courthouse, high court near TBS. She worked on Louis Street. So she worked there, and then the school thing, then she joined, and then she was doing all that together. So I already saw that. My dad was an architect. So I've never, in my own like conscious memory, remember my parents when they were employees. They were employees before I was born. So my mom worked at Savannah Bank. She was legal counsel. My dad also was an architect, so he worked at a place. So I heard that backstory. So when I got to Canada and my first year, I worked Now, remember that story about my father sending me $1,000. The next time they could send me money was like, it would be periodic. So it was very scattered. And then at the time,
like sure
it
money
wasn't
coming
sure.
like every month or every
Now,
2 months.
The cool thing about abroad is when you go abroad, you will meet all the lows that actually have money. Nigeria's national kick. When they're telling you all those things that benefit Nigerian youth is Canada, they are not lying. So all those politicians, people, children, all of them that are abroad, they have money on a steady. And me, that I'm cutting close according to my size,
Business boy.
he's not going far.
Yeah.
At the time, for my first 2 years of uni, I didn't have a phone.
Are you serious?
I didn't have a phone.
Like,
If you want to reach
no
me, you have to send
phone.
me a message on Skype. Send me a message on Skype. Or you send me Kenny on
Wow.
Yahoo Messenger. Because that's what was working that time.
Wow.
So I didn't have a phone. I remember I was like, Mommy, please, I need a phone. I told you, you cannot. Like, again, at the time, the MC didn't want to say we can't afford it.
But actually,
But you will figure it out.
You can tell. You can tell.
I also remember, like, even in my second year, part of what drove me, I was like, no, I must, was I heard through the grapevine that my mom had sold a car.
right.
I was like,
Send you money.
So to send me money, they tried to pay. Because remember, international fees is not the same as domestic.
Oh, yeah, they're paying every year.
So, and they're paying every year. And the thing is, there were so many late fees that are accumulated. So sometimes you tell your parents that, guys, this is, and they'll try to, again, they don't want to tell you that, Kosovo, but they're like, Tola, are you not, why they've changed your fees again? What's happening? So you start noticing that it's time to become touchy. So I said, okay, let me see if I can now take on my own responsibility for
balance
myself.
some
I pay my own rent, things like that. So then I started working full time. So I got my first job was at Canada Post, head office. And so I made sure, again, you do a really amazing job because my goal now is to come back every summer. And again, luckily, so my second year, summer school, I paid for myself. Summer fees, everything I paid. So I got that job. Second year, I kept it for third year, kept it my fourth year. And then I did one more semester at Canada Post before I then found a full-time job. So I kept that one. That was number one. So in the summer, I worked full-time for 3 months before school starts again in September. Then during school, I worked part-time as well.
20 hours, yeah.
So that way, the big money will come in the summer. It's like 10 grand for the year. So I'll get 10 grand in 3 months, and I know that I'm have to save
Wow.
it. Then you get your minimum wage, like maybe like $9, $10
Then
maybe ballpark.
It's more now.
It's more now. So you do that as well. I know it's by hours. So my grades did drop, but Tolu, what are you doing? You're not focused. And I was like,
You said no go fit talk. Say, mommy, I need
Because
to.
I've already learned it from them that you don't say
something has to do.
everything.
because you cannot tell them
The
they are
greater
ungrateful.
good.
They're not ungrateful
Yes.
because they've sacrificed. So I'll be like, mommy, it's hard. Winter is doing me. So it's so cold. It's -30 outside. I'm trying. But you know that it's because I'm chasing boss. The times I fell down chasing boss, you will slide and fall.
Are you serious?
That's
You will chase it too.
Cold.
You can otherwise you wait in the bus for another 30 minutes outside. No matter how many layers you are wearing, -30, how many layers can you wear that -30 you are sitting there for 30 minutes? You can't. So if there's a bus that's coming and you are running, I know I was fit that time, I was fit. You run. Then you make the bus. I remember one of my friends, Johnny, we sat down one day, he was like, we were just there, just tired. Like, why are we doing this? Like, was Nigeria that bad?
Bro.
Was Nigeria really?
You
They
just
should-
be
they should
reasoning
go
that,
back now,
why
understand.
am I in this place when I can be at home and not doing this?
So, but again, that's what drove all that. So I already knew that I had no choice. It's either do or die. And there's no backup plan. Because number one, remember, I have advantage. So no matter what, I cannot go back and tell stories. It's because money was tough. I cannot go back and say, well, it's -30. So I was like, whatever it takes, we make it work.
All right, so let's go to the better part of like you know, like we've had some very emotional side of the
And
conversation.
I'm actually enjoying it though.
So I mean, just like people know some of what I'm doing now. Let's now tell people a lot of what then God did for Tolu. So you got the job.
What God did for me. So this is now after the undergrad side?
Yeah.
So you're done with undergrad.
Okay, so I'm done with undergrad now. And one of the things I'd also done to minimize cost, I started renting with friends. So me and 3 other friends were living in this house. It was a 3-bedroom house, and there was a basement. So I was staying in the basement, everybody was staying in the bedrooms upstairs. And then at the time, things were fluctuating in terms of like cost of everything. So internet, the way we pay it was like 100 gigs. So the way we do it now, but then it became unlimited. Then you would pay utilities, those kind of things. And then we had a landlord who would collect the money. And she didn't want the thing where I'll collect from you, collect from you, collect from you. So like,
You
can
put
I
it
get one
together.
person that will collect all the money?
Yeah.
And so I said, well, I'll do that. So all you'll give me the money and I'll pay. But at the time, the challenge was the bills were always fluctuating. So I was like, okay, I had like history of like 12 months. So I looked at it and looked at the average. And I said, okay. I looked at the average and I added a little bit of like a buffer. So I told my friends, okay, what we'll do is we'll just put the equal payments. I think it was like maybe everything together, all the utilities was like maybe $70 each. But they didn't like that one month to be 50 and another month is 100.
Yeah.
That is not easy to plan with that. So I told guys, okay, if we all pay 80, you don't have to worry about whatever it is. I'll take the risk of the fluctuator. So I already had that sense of like, okay, you already know how people behave and how people can manage their money. So they were like, oh, for sure, like we'll gladly pay the quote unquote extra if whatever the increment we don't have to worry about.
You cover it.
I'll cover it. So I did that. And so now I was trying to manage money and I was looking at it all. And then at one point, the landlady was tired of the house. And she's like, okay, guys, I'm looking to sell. So she reached out to me because I'm the one that's liaising between everybody. It's like, Tolu, I'd like to sell this house. If you guys are interested, let me know. But I'm just giving you a warning because Canada has this thing where you have to technically let tenants know, and then there's a period to that. So at this point, I'm working full time.
The first job was in.
First job was software developer after school.
So which one, the bank?
Think Rap. No, this was Think Rap Commerce.
Okay.
So I had a full time job. I was making $55,000. That was my first job. To me, that was big money because I was also calculating in naira. Oh God, I thought I was balling, but taxes, but separate story.
Oh wait, besides that was before tax.
That's before tax.
55K before tax.
Before
Oh,
tax.
okay.
But you collect tax and Jesus Christ, they take your money. So I went and bought a nice car, brand new Nissan Altima. Oh God, I felt so good. Which is quote unquote bad financial advice to do, brand new car. But in my mind, I was trying to understand numbers. It was a 0% interest rate. So I thought, I'll be fine. And my rent cost was low because again, I spread it. So when she came and said, I wanted to sell the house, I was like, yikes. I wasn't prepared to buy a house. But also, the cool thing is, because I don't have a lavish lifestyle, I don't party. I want to eat, I eat at home. I cook for my friends.
So Luke cooks.
I
Yeah.
cook for my friends. And so at that time, what we would do is, if we wanted to hang with friends, people come to our house, we'll eat at home, and everybody else contribute money, we'll cook, I'll cook, stuff like that. And that's why I also kept my cost low, because friends will buy the food, I'll cook it. That's again, equal contribution.
So you didn't have to drop money.
So I didn't have to drop too much, exactly. So sometimes I'll drop small, sometimes I'll maybe just buy juice here and there. Again, I'm the broke friend. You have to have broke etiquette. You got to know when, if you buy the food, I'll cook it. So again, give everybody time so that these people can also focus on studying. Everybody can balance it out.
Yeah.
So now,
your other roommates, did they have jobs too, or they were still?
So so while we were in school, some of them had jobs. Some people had like jobs that that time was Future Shop. So you would say like a store to buy and sell electronics. So I had a friend that worked at a Future Shop, another person that worked at a grocery store, and that one that like he was just collecting money from his parents. That was it, focusing on school. So everybody had their own different thing that they were also doing. And so I get the opportunity to buy this house. And so I looked at my, how much is to buy a house? I didn't even know what it was like. So I went and asked the bank, I asked a bunch of banks. Like, oh yeah, we can give you a loan for this much, and you just need to come with like 5%. That's what they told me, it was 5%. So I reached out to the landlady, actually, I might be interested. What is the price? So now we started the conversation. So we sat down, hammered out a deal, and she was like, okay, her own priority was getting out. The thing was worth a little bit more than she wanted, but the big issue was there was also this thing called HOA, so Homeowners Association. It's also called like a condo board. That's the other name. So the way it works is, let's say everybody's in a townhouse. We all have common elements that we all manage. So whether it's snow removal, whether it's roofs, all those kind of things is managed by the board, not you specifically. And then there was a lawsuit between them and the builder of the community. So that created an artificial dampening of the value. So the house was worth more, but they couldn't because nobody else wants to buy it because there's a lawsuit. There's a legal drama. So we didn't want to leave. We didn't care to leave. And I was like, also, actually, when is next the board meet? So I was like, she was like, oh, they meet on this day. So I went to the meeting.
To secure what's going on.
Let me go and hear direct what the story is. And so, funny enough, that day, they were like, oh, we are actually looking for new board members. I said, well, guys, I'm not officially
a
homeowner in this association, but I will be. So technically I lied, but I will be. And for the board, they needed a resident board member because most board members are owners and then they rent to people like us. And so they needed a resident, quote-unquote, owner to be on the board. I said, well, I live on the property, so I'm a resident, I qualify. I will soon buy. So by the time you ratify me, so you can vote me in now, but by the time you ratify, I'll be an owner. And so on the spot, they voted me in. So now
that was the first meeting?
First meeting. First meeting. So I knew.
That's the Nigerian
so now, you see what I'm saying?
That's the Nigerian
So I already knew now. So
place.
again, I'm looking to control the property and also the legal issue that is causing the value to be down. So now I'll get insider information directly on what the lawsuit is about, why is this happening, all those kind of things. So, okay, cool. This seems like a good enough investment. Now, I reached out to my lawyer. Oh, yeah, I want to buy this place. Now, again, from a legal perspective, look at risk. So she looked at it properly again, being like, well, before you buy, when my clients ask me, I do not recommend you buy this place because this lawsuit has been going for this long in terms of number of years. It has created these monitoring issues. We also suspect that the person being sued will go bankrupt and declare bankruptcy. They have a pattern for doing behavior like this, and essentially there will be no money to recollect. And all the things that need to be done, the condo doesn't have the money to pay. So they're most likely going to call a special assessment, which is essentially contribute more money. So that's the legal expectation of what is happening. So now I understand the full story. Tolu, do you buy or do you not buy? At the same time, someone else came and pulled me. I was like, oh, Tolu, I heard you are looking to buy. There's another opportunity in this place called Kanasa. It's a new expanding community. It's brand new. Well, new enough. I think you should buy in that area instead. I said, okay, cool. When will be ready? You'll be ready in 2 years. I need something now, though. So, okay. You know what we'll do? What's the deposit for that one? That one was like $15,000. To buy my house was 200 and something, so I needed 5%. So I was like, maybe 10. So ballpark, I had about 25. So I was like, yeah, I can do this. I can do it. So I was like, okay, I'll buy for 2018. I put money down for that. And then my current place only needs 5. So I can still complete this deal. Yeah. So now, technically, I'm now on the hook for 2. So I agreed to go ahead with the deal, and then I looked at buying it. In the middle of it, the mortgage people are like, oh, actually, you're not yet a resident of Canada. You're still on a work, you're still on a study permits, like work permits, whatever. So technically, that 5%, we can't do 5%. You need to find 10.
For the new one or for
the current one? Because the new one is in 2 years, so you don't have to worry about that. That one's fine. I've already committed that money. 15, I've committed to pay it. But now, my plan was I had like 25. So I'm going to put 10 here, I'm going to put 15. I'm going to find another 10 quickly again. So, boy, I was like, cool, regardless, I'm going to buy the house. So I spoke to my friends, guys, before I buy this house, are you guys going to stay? We'll continue the rent. I might have to increase it because now I'm the person paying directly. The mortgage is going to cost a little bit more. To them, it was like, so our overall rent each was going from 400 to like 500. Not a big deal in the grand scheme of things, but it covers the mortgage. Now, all I need to do is find another 10. Okay. So I started thinking about, okay, maybe do I expand, do I sell, do I whatever? As luck will have it. And this is the thing that I realized about like people who have like audacity. When you start doing stuff, life just finds a way to almost like respond. Yeah. So luckily...
You can call it grace, yeah.
So luckily, I filed my taxes. So I filed my taxes myself.
You got returns.
Filed my taxes myself. Now this is the thing about understanding systems. And this is why like sometimes when people say things are hard, I'm like, it's actually in your advantage to go through that hard. Because you will learn so much about the way systems work. And so I was filing it myself. And then as I was filing it, the previous year when I filed it, they didn't file my tuition credits or like how much I paid in tuition because they don't even think that all those kind of things, if someone else is filing it for you. But I saw the software was like, if you're a student, you can put stuff here. So I put in how much I'm paying. And now I'm paying international fees. So as you can imagine, it's higher
3, 4, 5 times
than the regular.
Yeah.
And Canada, and this is the thing about again system that like look at Nigeria, like why are we not doing these things? When you pay international fees, they give you because you're investing in your income potential. So the government almost gives you like credits to help as you are growing to pay it back, so that as your income goes, they'll make the money back long term taxes. So essentially, it wiped out the taxes I had paid for almost that entire year. I got it back in credits, which meant the 10K showed up.
Hey!
Don't filing taxes.
Oh, tax.
And so that's how I was able to close on that one. So that was essentially even just my intro to like starting to almost like do stuff. And also all the money I'd been saving from all the years. And because again, I didn't know when I started getting money. So I was already used to a saving habit. Yeah. And I was not a spendthrift anyways. So that was how I got started in the business side. So that was the very beginning. So I bought 2 properties just out of school. So like 22. Sorry, I bought 2 at 22. Plus a car. At that time. So that was the beginning. So I was like, oh, this is the game. So this is the game. You get into real estate. You start figuring out one by one. And so that's how I got started. And then later on, to close the 2018 one, by then I was even going to do my MBA. To close in 2019 because there was a slight delay. And then in that one, at that point, I reached out to some of my friends. Yeah, guys, you've seen how I do things from a managing income, managing rent and expenses perspective. You saw it when I was not the landlord. You've seen me 2 years as the landlord. How you're all interested? So I shopped that deal across my friends. 2 of my friends were interested. One of my friends was at Microsoft. Another friend who was another software engineer in Toronto. So we created a partnership. So I reached out to my lawyer again. We created a joint venture deal. So we created like a quote unquote company where we had legal rights. And then I set up that I had 40% control of the company.
Sorry, as at this time, how do you got your citizenship?
No, still not on a citizenship. So I did this all on a work permit still.
Wow.
I got my citizenship in 2020. I was a permanent resident in, I think, 2018, 2017, somewhere there. 2017. Because then I went and did my MBA. And even with regular fees, it was still very expensive, but that's a separate story. So at that point, that's how I got into real estate. And then I'd now done 2. And then I grew to 3. And then kept going.
Let's not say too much.
So that's the
All right, so
yeah.
that's a lovely story. I mean, I knew a bit of it. But, so what then happened with the MBA? At what point? So yes, you got the permanent residency. That changes your life from international fees to
regular,
domestic. But then I remember that years ago when you were going through that, you told me that you sought like some education loan from the bank or something like that together. So like, can you give that story, because that's now like a big thing. Funding is a very big thing now in Africa.
So the cool thing was, remember when I did my undergrad, luckily, shout out to Mr. and Mr. Arugumati for paying that one. So they paid that. I had no student loans, thankfully, and I didn't need anything of that.
Yeah.
Canada has a national student loan program, and then it's distributed to the provinces. So it's OSAP. That's what they call it. So Ontario Students Assistance Program. So you can get some OSAP, and then...
Okay, so I should ask, only for permanent residents?
Only for permanent residents and citizens. So luckily, once you become a permanent resident, you get access.
Yeah.
You don't even need to worry about being a citizen.
Okay.
So I went to the banks. Banks in Canada typically exclude anybody that isn't one of them.
Yeah.
So now I could start getting like the really big products. And also,
and
the cool thing was, because I'd already done stuff even on a work permit, instead of, for example, the property stuff, getting a mortgage, I bought a car on a loan, credit history was already building. So they could already see track record, never missed a payment. Because again, I've already, the habits from before, no stories, money must show up. So my phone, credit card, line of credit, it's already clear that this guy manages money well. So my credit was already going really well. I even remember that mortgage, even they were like, how come you have really good credit already? I said, because I've already lived here long enough now. Like, oh, no problem, approved. So it's one of those, because an international should not have credit and credit history. I was like, well, I'm a student. So they understood that it's true that we technically exclude international students and workers from the credit system. But now I'm on a permanent resident, and I now have the advantage of history even before. So I went to the banks, and there's this thing that I like to do, because again, I'm Nigerian. If you want to buy something, you shop it.
Now, Mom City teaches that one now. You go 3 tomato sellers before you say,
The funny thing is, when people go abroad, they forget those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And they establish with one bank. I had a relationship with 2 banks. So I started with TD, and at the time when I was looking for my mortgages, I then expanded to RBC. And then at the point, I also tried Bank of Montreal, so it's a 3rd bank. So I started shopping across all of them. So I'm like, I want to go to the best school I can find.
Yeah, Queens.
I might as well. So I did Queens, Ivy, University of Toronto. Those were the 3 I wanted to compare. And I remember people telling me, we're showing my grades. I told you can't go. I know you can't. So I remember I was like, okay, step 1 is, let me figure out the entering the school part. And so I remember they initially rejected me. I actually have the letter. I printed it. And I emailed them back, trying to explain the situation and why I didn't do well because of school and things like that. And I also showed them that my entrance into the school was actually really good. It's just because of these external circumstances. So I remember the director of the program reached out to me. I was like, and I told him what thing that I'd done. So to me, I told you the story of like real estate and all those kind of things.
I remember you told me that you
I
highlighted your
look,
doings.
Ever since then, here's what I've done. This is the record. This is where I've worked. Anyone can give you reference for what I've done. I was also a strong member in the church. I was always doing all these outreach things. So it was available. I had a website. So I give them all the stats, all the numbers of what I had done. That's...
Wait, sorry, you personally called them, or they
No,
said...
so when I sent an email back, because when they reject you, they reject you. Right? You get the email, official, or whatever, and they tell you, obviously, you can reach us out if you have any questions. So I explained, I remember writing this email, and I was so pained because who are you to reject me?
Yeah.
You know?
After all
the audacity.
After
So I told them, explain the situation, and I was like, you know, this should be enough to sway you. And so they called me back.
This is where we should tell people that we should wait for part 2, because you are now a professor in that school, right?
I am. Funny
so
enough.
like this
That's
is really
funny
where we
enough.
should tell people to wait for part 2. I think that we should not. What do you think? I think we should tell people to wait for part 2, because that story is sweet. I think that's what we should do.
Sure.
But that story we'll get back to it on part 2. But let's just go straight into your jobs and your experience between getting that house and then so like what happened with that lawsuit?
Yeah.
And then we'll
so,
go into
so
our
let
news
me
for the
go
day.
down quickly. So
Yeah.
by the time I joined the board, one of my goals was to resolve that lawsuit because I also knew that it increased value for everybody on the property. And so being on the board, essentially, we actually went to mediation because we didn't want to go to court because court would be really, really expensive. And then at that point, I didn't know the concept, but like sunk cost. Whatever is in the past is gone. You can't, send new money to chase old money.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that was the concept. But for me, I already had that feeling. I was like, guys, we can't keep spending money on these things. Instead, maybe we reprioritize our resources from this legal battle into doing what we can with the property.
Yeah.
And so that's what we decided to do. And I also wanted to avoid a special assessment scenario. So we went to court, we dropped the suits, and then the lawyers, we spoke to them about like, would they be willing to almost like give us some of the legal trouble money back? Because essentially the reason for why we engaged them isn't going to continue anymore. And so luckily, they had also made some mistakes in the process. They had advised the previous board incorrectly. And then they realized the error of their own ways. So they were like, okay, so here's how, if you keep us as legal counsel for any future, whatever, we will kick back some more money. So we dropped the suits in the end. We went to mediation. There was clearly no way to get money back or recoup anything. We paid back legal fees. The other person was also willing to at least cut something to take care of that. And so we got some money back. So we dropped the lawsuits. And then with that, everybody's properties started to rise again in value because now it's off the record. It's off everything now, so it's resolved. And then around that time, the property growth from Toronto was starting to come to Ottawa.
Yeah.
So a lot of people would sell in Toronto. They had a lot of
Move
money.
to
And they
Ottawa.
come to Ottawa, they'll buy a bunch to buy like 5 because there was so much money in Toronto. And so as a result, the value started to go up. So by the time I got out of that deal, so I
Value
sold
was-
it in 2018 or 2020, sorry. So I sold, no, 2019. So I sold it, and that ended up like bringing back a healthy sum. I used some of that to start paying off my school loans, which we'll talk about how I got to all that.
Yeah.
So I used some of that as well.
So,
And yeah.
Audacity pays.
Oh, that's the thing I tell even my students, I tell my mentees, it costs you nothing to have audacity. The worst they'll say is no. And if you do nothing, they say no anyway.
Yeah,
So
so-
the only thing, your audacity can help you get the yes.
Yeah.
So you might as well. Because the people you'll be surprised by, the people that you think are special, even from places I've worked at, Reddit, Meta,
Just regular.
they're regular human beings. They don't have to wait.
Yeah, yeah.
And
nothing
some of us are
special.
even sharper than I. Like the
Yeah,
people I
nothing
like,
special about them.
So instead of being scared of
Yeah.
processing your jabba, have the audacity and go ahead.
see, you'll be
Start.
surprised the places you can get scholarship from, the things
Yeah,
you'll be
funding
surprised.
opportunities
So
and things.
all those kinds of things.
All right, that take us to the news. So we've got a couple of things to talk about before we wrap up this part. Isaac,
Yeah, first thing. I mean, you already mentioned the UK
no water.
elections.
No water.
I mean, I when I was reading
shitty
about
boy.
it, when I was reading about it, I checked on what's the implications it might have on immigrations, because right now there are, immigration policies are like terrible for Nigerians. So the Labour actually says that they will look into
Scapping season. So UK is Commonwealth of Ghana.
Australia is the
Canada and
worst.
Australia are doing the same thing. UK is doing the same thing. Nothing's going to change.
Australia, I think
When,
Australia is the worst.
when the money don't low, they
Then
will
they'll
call
come
us back.
So I mean, but history says that the Labour has always
Which history?
Supported.
14 years of history.
Well,
Labour hasn't
history.
smelled
for a while.
5 prime ministers, 14 years of conservatives.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see,
what
Sha.
what is
Yeah.
up there.
Well, let's move to something that is more interesting. The South
Yeah.
Korea one that I saw
oh
yesterday
yeah,
was
they have
a new
plans
policy.
or a new policy to bring in 300,000 immigrants.
Hope
So
it's
you-
not the
you-
one that they will put their study fee
No,
1,600.
so they actually one of the things they actually
So
try
do
to
you want to say that just so that people in the microphone can hear? What did she say? Or is she also in the
No,
Oh yeah,
mic'd
shout
up,
out
She's
my
mic'd up. Oh, nice.
yeah,
nice,
shout
nice,
out
yeah,
my-
fair. Sorry.
Yeah, so one of the things they're trying to do, or the idea is to reduce fees and then bring in scholarships.
Double
So,
scholarship.
Double scholarships. Sorry.
Like so, if I think they give over 1,003 scholarships, they want to double that.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Reduce
So
do you
language
think South
requirements.
Korea is
Yeah, I love it. So when I was in Barcelona last year, I met one lovely babe working at the tourism. Yeah, I want to go. I've always
When I
said great
think-
things.
What are you thinking?
We go
Let's
yarn.
not see now.
Interestingly,
Let's
there's
not
a
see.
You want to
new
go to South Korea
product.
too?
I was gonna
You know
say,
the funny
yeah,
thing, right?
but-
There's a new product we're working on. We saw this company in the US that's been doing it well, where like there are different packages for tourism. And you know when you were talking to me about Kevin, and I was saying, why can't we find friends who are looking to go to Europe or like minds, and so we'll talk about it.
Yeah, no, the other thing I also want to do
definitely-
is I think there's a lot of programs, for example, for Canadians where like you already pre-agreed to go to certain countries.
Yes.
And
South,
unfortunately,
South Korea is one of them.
Right, so there's a difficulty with Nigerians
Nigeria.
going to it. And I
Well,
and I
yeah.
would love to showcase that like these things are maybe a
Beneficial.
priority Nigerians should consider.
Yes.
So
We'll
that's
do
kind
that.
of-
We'll definitely talk about
we'll
that.
talk about it, yeah.
They call this one project. It's
3,000.
a study Korea 300K project.
300K,
So they're trying to
yeah.
get it
More people.
30% by 2027.
Fair enough.
So
Those
and
countries need people.
you know where Nigeria is right now, so there's scholarship and funding opportunities. We don't know where our current leadership will take us by that 2027. So you can be like Tolu, you know.
Oh, that's-
and
I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, find
because
out.
the final thing
Bro.
about this policy is that they also say that masters and doctoral
Yeah.
students will then get
PR,
permanent residency in
yeah.
South Korea. So it makes so much sense. So
Yeah,
imagine you
exactly.
get PR from South Korea, then you now go to Canada, South Korea, bilateral
See.
stuff. So the G is plenty for them.
Yeah.
The G is
Thank you,
plenty
guys.
for them.
Yeah, and finally, the Germany opportunity card is out.
The
It's
sweetest thing in the
it's
market
actually
now.
crazy. I
Is
want
language going to be a factor? Yeah.
No,
IELTS.
with
You
IELTS.
Really?
Ah, you know, I mean, you know the big, the like the big companies in Germany, right?
Yes, now. That's the economic powerhouse. Like I was telling you, like it's France and Germany if you want to do anything in Europe. So if you're doing Germany, in fact, that's the best place.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
you want
but
to-
I wanted to ask because I was trying to do my research, but because of time, are dependents allowed? Like, can you go with family?
yeah, so generally,
Yes.
What
can
you
go
want
with
to
your
do-
spouse.
yeah, what you want to do is you want to tell people that going with your spouse to Europe is never a problem. It's the cost of living. Like
Yeah,
Europe
it's the
has a
cost,
sweet
yeah.
policy where they're like, if Tolu is going with his wife, Tolu will show his living expense for a year and his wife's living expense for the year.
Yeah.
So going with your partner and all, it's not the
So
problem.
it's like
the cost.
So
Yeah.
you still have to show all those
Yes.
POF
Yeah.
and all
and
those things.
no, and
It's
that's the
not
beauty
POF.
of Germany
Blocked
doesn't do
account.
POF. They do blocked account.
Blocked account.
So
What
like
does that
12,000 euros, you must show them the money
have
they
it.
cash.
Ah.
Fixed savings.
There's
So
somebody I need
it's
to talk
like
to.
that. It's like that GIC, right? You get interest on your
On the
money.
money.
So it's really sweet. So you just have to do IELTS, have similar to even the UK's global talents, right? But with
Yeah,
global talent,
yeah.
you're basically getting a visa that will allow you to work and stop.
See, I'm already mind blown.
opportunities
I-
are
I'm ready
vast.
to discuss that one. That one, once we finish this podcast,
Audacity,
we'll
no,
talk, because there's
now
somebody
Audacity that wants
that
they
I want
want
to,
oh,
yeah,
that's
I want
nice.
to push into it. So
So opportunity card is the way to go. I think Portugal tried it with, they didn't call it a Portugal card. Portugal just said job seeker visa, come into
Yes,
Portugal,
yes.
we'll give you a
Yeah,
year.
it was supposed to
That's
have-
still
it was supposed to
going on and you can go find a job. Spain has their own
Yeah,
going.
Spain,
So
yeah, Spain, I was going to
and we've
talk
talked about it. Like I want more to do that. I swear I wish my wife was around because
yeah.
the opportunity to actually also tour these places and see these policies
For
like
ourselves, yeah.
for yourself and then
Yeah.
show people like the artistic side of things.
Yeah.
Well,
We'll do it. No, I'm ready.
I was in
Like-
one big school a couple of weeks ago, and this way, have money. Oh.
One is
Imagine mothers saying that we should organize a trip for them, mothers only. They don't want to go with their husbands.
You just want to see for their children. Ah, that's actually another area too. But
Wait, mothers
when we're
and
ready.
kids or just
Those
mothers?
the
and
mama-
kids?
Because you have to say, okay, this we're
Not
doing
them
like tour.
chilling with
Yeah.
their-
So you know I said we're going to shop it.
Yeah.
Or at least the school. This is what they are. So you do that for parents. Because that's people that will
And
make
that's
the
for them to
decision.
chill 1 week.
You
Come
don't want
back.
to rest. Yeah.
I was telling her, I said, Mommy, you
Yeah.
stay for like 2-3 weeks. Say for what? Those 5
1
days,
week.
7 days, and back.
They'll see what they need to see. Yeah. You can do
So
that.
So
there's,
when we come back,
there's a lot of opportunities. Yeah. So when we come back next episode, we'll have Tolu again, and we'll go into that. It was a lovely episode. So
Okay.
thank you guys for coming.
Yeah, thanks, Tolu.
Thanks,
it was,
Tolu,
It was
for
really, it
coming.
was really.
Yeah,
We
it's
can't wait
been
to
a
have you
while.
back. It was really interesting.
Really.
And I reached out to you for the
Isaac's new
mentorship.
mentor.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sure. For sure.
All right,
It's allowed.
thanks for
It's
listening,
allowed.
guys. Yeah, bye, guys. We'll be back
Thank you,
next
guys.
week.